Sorry for being a couple minutes late. I figured having the banners ready beforehand would be much better than not. So, thank you for everyone here. I am Margaret Pinard, and it looks like my media assets revolted against me, and they show the right brand color and theme, but they're not working. Nope. Oh my gosh. All right, well, we'll just deal with this then. Good morning, everybody. Happy holidays-ish. It is a Friday in December. I'm sipping from a kangaroo mug, just having some tea this morning. And good evening, if it's evening where you are. We're doing tags today. It is a tag week. I did 3 on Wednesday that were holiday themed, a little bit more time sensitive. And today I am back to clean up on aisle book tag. So one of these is back from June. And yeah, so I love it when people tag me. I do love it. And I keep track of them all. I'm wondering how you guys keep track of what you've been tagged to do. So my answer to this question of the day is that I have a place in my planner. It's the very first page of any new planner. I start writing things down here, and this I had to add a little Dutch door kind of thing, and that is now full as well. I started this a few months ago. It doesn't go by year, so I'm going to have to add a new one in the middle of the planner where I am right now with December. So I do this for paper system, and then I also have a playlist. Every time someone tags me, I pop them in that playlist. So sometimes it's people who are tagging me in book tags, or just because they're shouting out my books, which is wonderful. So I'm curious what you guys do to keep track. But welcome to this tag video. It's a triple tag video. I've got coffee, I've got beach vacation, and I've got the oldie, Adventurers Assemble. And I just popped them all in the description. So hopefully those taggers will watch this video. Which order should I go in? Which one sounds the most interesting? Let's see. Cat Paw was here early and then said, well, there's thunder and lightning, so I may be cut off at any point. But I have a candle and a cup of tea, and Toby just joined me, so I'm good. Cheers. The hair is down. Yep. Every once in a while, I let my hair down. So, catch up, round up, book tags, coffee, beach vacation, or Adventurers Assemble. Vote in the chat. I've got them already, and you can also answer the question of the day. Oh, this is just going to be laid back because I woke up late today. They've all got fun answers, and I've got my taggies ready to go. So let me see. I have one that Greg is tagged in. Let's start with that one. All right, that's the coffee book tag. Yes. All right, let's start with coffee since I have tea. Coffee book tag is these folks. So Leslie, because I know Leslie does coffee. Greg, I don't know if you do coffee, and Deborah Carr, author. So you probably know Leslie. Greg is in the chat, and Deborah is a fellow author on YouTube who writes contemporary romance and historical romance under a couple pen names. And she often starts her videos with a very peculiar shaped glass, like a triangle glass, which I would think of more of for like a chalice or wine, but she's got a lovely coffee drink in it. And I just thought that was funny. So if you want to watch videos from another author, go over and check out Deborah Carr. And I've read at least one of her books, maybe 2, definitely 1, and it was very nice. So if you like romance, give it a try. So the coffee book tag, thank you to Alan F. Allen's Reads for tagging me. It's originally by Bangity Bangs, but they seem to be a defunct channel. So here we go. The first prompt is Black Coffee. Name a series that's tough to get into, but has hardcore fans. And, I could say Remnants. It's not hard to get into. It's just hard to find. It's hard to get into people's ears. I'm gonna say Wheel of Time because those are so intimidating and there's so many and it's so wandering. I think that's very hard to get into, but there are hardcore fans. I know some, but that's not gonna be for me. And taggies, feel free to write down your answers as we go so you can be ready next time you want to pull up a tag. Question number 2, Peppermint Mocha. Name a book that gets more popular during the winter or a festive time of year. And I am going to say a book that I also highlighted in my Wednesday stream, which is A Scottish Christmas by Emma Bennett. So fellow indie author, actually hybrid author, and here on YouTube. And she mostly writes holiday romances, but also contemporary romance for any time of the year. And they're all very sweet, very ordinary day, people's regular struggles and trusting people. They're very lovely romances. Set in the UK, and her next one coming out is set in Cornwall, which should be fun because I really want to visit Cornwall sometime when, it's not taking your life into your hands to get into an airplane. We'll see when that is. So that's a lovely winter read or festive read that conjures up a peppermint mocha. Let's see. Coffee. Hey, Jim. Jim is tagged in a different tag. And Greg says, yes, I'm a coffee drinker. Hot and black, no frills. Gotcha. Greg said, I just found out that my library has The Keening available as an ebook. That's amazing. No prompted. Awesome. That's very exciting. All right. So peppermint mocha, hot chocolate. I love a hot chocolate. Prompt number 3. What is your favorite children's book? Okay. And this one has a link. I'm just going to pop it in here. Maybe you've heard of this one. It's a storygraph link to the book. It's called The Jolly Postman. Now, I wrote all these answers back when I was in my apartment, so I had the book. But we're not going to do a screen share today because I got tired of doing that for the past few streams. So we're just going to talk about books like Gareth. It's just going to be me. The Jolly Postman by Janet Alberg. And this is a book that was out when I was a kid. I don't know if it was then or written then or earlier, but it was a hardcover, longer book than it was tall. And it was about a postman in fairy tale world. And he went to all these people from fairy tales and he brought them letters. And with each person's house that he stopped at, there was a letter pasted onto the page that you could take out and read. And this obviously started my obsession with bookish mail. So getting and sending snail mail is still one of my favorite things. And it probably started with this book called The Jolly Postman by Janet Alberg. And that is the storygraph link if you want to check it out. Hi, Jenny. Hello, JJ. We've got ghosts. Jim says, I have a coffee in the morning, black, 1 sugar, and that is it for the day. I value my sleep. Yes, so no coffee after midday. Smart. All right, so hot chocolate is done. Prompt number 4, double shot of espresso. Name a book that kept you on the edge of your seat from start to finish. So I had 2 here because I could think of a lot of books actually. But the first one is one that people have heard me mention, All the Water in the World by Erin Kafal, 5-star. And then also A Blizzard of Polar Bears by Alice Henderson, 5-star. So All the Water in the World is something I read as an audiobook. It's a dystopian future where sea levels have risen. People are out surviving in small bands. Things are dangerous. And some band of people found family are trying to make it out of New York City to a safer place. And it is really, really tensely told. A Blizzard of Polar Bears is one I read by Alice Henderson. She has a series, a recent series with a character, Alex Carter, who will pop up in a different tag. And she is a field biologist, and this is the first one in the series, I believe. Or no, it's the second. The first one is Solitude of Wolverines. And she's up to 4 books in the series now, I think. And I've read 3. They're really good. They're so action-oriented, tension, pounding, injuries, survival instincts, hiding in the bush. Like, you get to know the science of survival in the wild, but also like the tense danger chase scene feels as well. So she's the scientist as well as the really good thriller writer. So Alice Henderson for the double shot of espresso. Prompt number 5 is Starbucks. Ugh. Name a book you see everywhere. Well, I'm allergic to hype, so I couldn't say. Or I'd sneeze, and I'd have to kill you. So we'll just leave that one empty because I'm allergic to hype. Let's see. Ven is here. Hello, hello. Ven is tagged in a different one. Beth Ann, yay! I'm always so excited when I can make a live when it's actually live. Yay, welcome. And okay, Beth Ann has read it. The Jolly Postman is an amazing children's book, right? I don't ever see anyone talk about it, so I feel like it's in this niche, but I'm glad someone else knows it exists and has read it. Hello, Jocelyn. Welcome, welcome. Oh, Colleen Hoover books. Well, and you DNF'd the one you tried. So there we go. Allergic to hype. Didn't steer me wrong. All right, prompt number 6. That hipster coffee shop. Give a book by an indie author a shout out. Okay, so I have a link that I can post here that hopefully is not too long for YouTube. Oh, it might be. Let me break it up. That might help. All right, so my friend Anita, who I tagged in a different tag, AF Stewart here on YouTube, just launched a new book when I wrote these answers. So I put that in. She's got Nordic Tales. That's very horror and comedic and just really great. So that's the link to her video where she announces it. And this is the link for the blurb on Kobo. Kobo is a platform that sells books, not just indie books, but not beholden to Amazon. So if you're looking for an alternative for ebooks and you're an ebook reader, I'm not going to try to convert you, but if you are already an ebook reader, check out Kobo and start building that library instead of the Kindle. Except for Jenny, because I don't think Jenny could restart at this point. Coffee makes me sleepy if I have too much. Fair. Coffee makes me want to barf when I smell it being brewed. If I get too close. All right, prompt number 7. Oops, I accidentally got decaf. Name a book you were expecting more from. All right, so this isn't a very positive thing. So I'm going to name a classic. When I try to read for Victober, this last October, I read Mr. Basil Gets Agent by Leonard Merrick. I found a copy and saved it for October and was happy to read it during the readathon time, but it was pretty bad. So it was one of these like rip-roaring yarns, but it was just really badly written. So not my favorite, and mystery, but not the greatest, so would not recommend. Prompt number 8, The Perfect Blend. Name a book or series that was both bitter and sweet, but ultimately satisfying. Sorry if there's extra noise. I'm moving my tea mug on near the sound thing. So you guys have heard me talk about this one recently, The Traveling Cat Chronicles. This is a Japanese translated book that I just featured in my Cozy Translated Books video. This is my cue. And it's from the point of view of the cat. They are astray and they get picked up early by somebody and live with him for a long time, but then they have to find a new home because the owner is looking for a new home. And then no matter where they go, they don't really fit in, and the cat doesn't want to go. So he figures out all these ways to not stay at these places. And yeah, you find out why, and you're like, oh my gosh. So bit of a tearjerker warning, but the cat makes it out okay. So if that is your sticking point, don't worry, the cat does not die. It's such a good book. So definitely a good holiday read, but also anytime. Just a very cozy and satisfying book. And that is the tag. So let's see. Jim says, a book I was expecting more from is The Invite by Irina Shapiro, a psychological thriller, not a Victorian murder mystery. I like the author and the genre, but not so much this book. So, all right. She tried something new and it didn't work for you. That's good to know. Hi, Gareth. Hello, hello, hello. Yeah, Greg. Yep. Careful with the technical jargon. I know. I really lay it on people. I know it's obnoxious when sound cuts out or your things blip very loudly. So apologies if I do any of that. You can already tell my theme is not working in StreamYard. Occasionally they just reset it, and I don't want to have to do all that again while I'm live. So, all right, now I've got 2 tags left: Beach Vacation or Adventurers Assemble. And as Ven is here, and I have to scroll a long time to get back to June. Jim is here. So who needs to leave first, Ven or Jim? I think Jim might go to sleep earlier. Jim says, The Book Thief is a perfect blend of bitter and sweet. Is this by Mark Zoshak? Something like that? The really famous young adult one? Because there's a couple of books, at least, by this title, and I got mixed up and tried to get the wrong one once. Emma Bennett is here. I already name dropped your book, Emma, again. Oh. Jenny says, I still need to read Book Thief. I keep putting it off. Why? It's 10. I think you go to bed at 11. Ben's not going anywhere. Okay, we'll do. I was close. Mark Zoshak is pretty close to Marcus Zuzak. So, hey, that is pulling it out of thin air. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, there's a profound statement. Jim says, loss is everywhere, but so is kindness. And that makes a really good book. Maybe that's a line from the book. It sounds like it might have been pulled from there. All right, so let me do the one where Jim is tagged, which is Adventurers Assemble. And I haven't seen anyone respond to the question of the day, so feel free to ping that in if you have an answer, if you have a way to track it. I'm curious about this. Banner for Adventurers. Okay, so second tag today is Adventurers Assemble. This was a CG rated books tag, and I was tagged in it back in June, so apologies for taking so long. But Nom Nom Nom, the first prompt. Choose a companion or adventurers that will ensure you eat well on your quest. And this is important. No stew on a quest. Father, daughter from Kamogawa Food Detective. So if you guys have not heard me rave about this series and you're talking about like cozy, heartwarming comfort read, pick up Kamogawa Food Detectives. It's about a mysterious restaurant that is half luxurious restaurant and half detective agency, because they hunt down plates or dishes that you have had in the past that you want to recreate. And it's all about the emotions involved in food and memory. And it's really lovely. So yeah, I highly recommend that. And they would be great for ensuring we ate well on a quest. For this tag, I also did alternatives. So either this father-daughter that runs the restaurant / detective agency, or handyman Hudson from Do Me a Favor. Now, Do Me a Favor is a Kathy Yardley recent publication. She's a she wrote something else. She used to write romance, and then these late literary romances, I would call them, are geared more toward older heroines and protagonists in general, and people struggling with different things, not just having it all. So in this one, Do Me a Favor is a chef that is getting pushed out of their contract and trying to earn enough money to keep a house on this island off of Washington State, and a handyman who is always putting other people's needs in front of his own, and they clash in the most delightful way. So her books are very funny as well as like really true to a romantic relationship. So that's really nice to see. So yeah, she is a chef, and so she is really good at putting things together, making creative pairings. So yeah, both of them, I think, together do a wonderful job at providing people with what they need. Let's see. Okay. We're getting people answering the question here, so I'm going to start it and we can talk about it at the next break. All right. Ooh, okay. Speaking of indie authors, because that was from the last tag, Cat Paws shouting out indie author Sam Wicker. Writer Sam Wicker is her channel. They're on special, and I got the first 2 of My Husband Wants series, and they're saying it's really funny. Excellent recommendation. Okay, so writer Sam Wicker books are on sale from her novella series. My Husband Wants to Keep Me blank, and they're apparently fun and a good time. And she had a lot of fun writing them, I heard. So sounds so cool. And Star and Jim Red role playing. Older characters, great read. See, there we go. And please boop the like button. Thank you, Jim. Let's make sure I didn't forget any of the chat. Yeah, okay. Prompt number 2 for Adventurers Assemble. Oh, and I didn't go over who's tagged. Jim, Reed Becca, Heather Reads, and Books Off the Beaten Path. So I have done several tags recently that are by the combined powers of Heather and Meg. And so I never see them doing tags. So I'm going to turn About as Fair Play to them and tag them in this tag, which I hope they enjoy doing, but no worries if not. I just thought they have come up with so many good tags. I thought I'd lob one back at them, which would be a fun one. So number 2 is, I know this one. Choose a companion or adventurer to help you win a pub or tavern quiz. Reference librarian from What You Are Looking For. Okay, so also in Cozy Translated video. What You Are Looking For is in the library. This is another great translated Japanese fiction that is about someone who somehow supernaturally knows what you need and will hand you book recommendations for books in the library, as well as a small felted toy, and they'll both act on your emotions to get you past whatever you are stuck on and move on with your life. And so this is just a delightful little, I think you would call it slice of life. It's a lot of different people. Sometimes you see them in characters in other people's stories in the same book. And it's just very cleverly done, but also with a lot of heart. So What You Are Looking For is in the library. Or for a pub quiz teammate, I would say Mary Russell. Mary Russell from the Russell and Holmes series by Laurie R. King. Mary is someone who grew up in California and all over the world with a fairly well-off family. She's half Jewish, half American, British, half Jewish, British, half American, let's say. And she goes to live in the UK from about age 14, I think. And then she goes to Oxford, and we get a little time in Oxford, and then she meets Holmes. Well, she meets Holmes before she goes to Oxford, but it's a delightful series, and she knows like so many things. So if you were looking for someone to win a quiz, Mary Russell should probably be your best bet. Number 3, keep it secret, keep it safe. Thank you for the Lord of the Rings reference. Choose a companion or adventurer that will stay loyal and trustworthy until the very end. This is a Samwise reference. So I've got 2 from this one. One is from another fantasy romance. I shouldn't say another romance, which is fantasy, Wooing the Witch Queen. And I'm going to say our hero, he's very loyal and very trustworthy. He had a very difficult childhood, but grew up with the right instincts, just like a Mr. Darcy should. Lands in enemy territory with mistaken identity and has to tiptoe around lots of things, including not having magical abilities. And he's just lovely. So Felix from Wooing the Witch Queen. Or, here's my alternate, Windradine from Dirayawada. So this is, and I had the author's name in my head, and now it is gone. Hess. There we go. Hess spelled Heiss, but it's pronounced that way. This is a book I read 2024, and it's an Australian author, and it's dealing with Indigenous to Australia First Nations. They call themselves something different in Australia, but that is our terminology here on this continent. And it's basically a what's that called? First contact. There we go. First or second, maybe, contact story of how the Indigenous community interacted with the immigrant community from the prison ships of the UK, and the tensions versus the trust. And Windradine is sort of this magic hero figure who's the brother, I think the brother of one of the main characters. And I'm going to use the word noble, even though that's kind of a tangled word in a white person's mouth, but the nobility of his values and actions and integrity are really apparent. And so, yeah, he would be noble and trustworthy until the very end. Really good historical fiction book. Prompt number 4, got your back. Choose a companion or adventure that will help you out in a fight. Oh, okay. So I had just read The Moon Spinners by Mary Stewart, and since we're on a Mary Stewart, keeps getting mentioned kind of kick and in Booktube this instant. She was on my mind, and the older brother, like the first character who our heroine comes across, he's injured and yet still appears to be good in a fight. So I put his name in there. It was a pretty good read. But I think my better answer for this one would be Alex Carter. So from Alice Henderson's books, Alex Carter is the badass wildlife scientist that goes all across the world, or at least the US and Canada, doing research and uncovering nefarious plots. So yeah, she'd be an excellent friend in a fight. Prompt number 5, man's best friend. Choose a companion or adventure that are not human. So, okay, so here's where I put these answers down, and then I didn't look up what the actual names were. So apologies to these fictitious animal people. In Grace Burroughs' mystery romance historical series called Lady Violet blank, which I love, there's 2 main male interests, and they sort of vie for what's the word? Primacy? Anyway, there's a French doctor and a Scottish earl, and that pretty much tells you all you need to know. The Scottish earl has a horse that he would trust with his life, and so I would say the Scottish earl's horse from the Lady Violet series. Or, here's my alternate, the dog that starts off the Boudica series and is forever referenced to as being the best dog ever. And of course, it's not just a dog. The early Celts had dogs that were hunters and basically like family members. And so if you read the series as Catpaw has, you'll know that it's an intense relationship. They put a lot of investment and training and love into their hunting dogs and companions. And so that would be definitely a great choice. So either one. And these are the people I'm tagging. So there we go. Checking back in with the chat. Hi, Eva. Aboriginals, I think, is the term I was trying to think, but I don't know if that's used anymore. Yeah, it's always evolving. I think that's a thumbs up from Jocelyn for booping the like button. Oh boy. Jim is bringing up there are also AI companions who aren't human, like Locke in the Cat and Locke series by Joe Callahan. I do not know this one. I don't think I've heard of the author or series. That's new. Is that one you've read from NetGalley? I don't know. Intriguing, but not my favorite. Okay, so I'm going to put this away, put this away, and then go back to the comments that I start. So, question of the day we can do on this break. How do you keep track of what you've been tagged to do on Booktube? So for me, I said I have a paper version in the planner and I have a playlist version in YouTube itself. Now I don't check off. I just keep the playlist forever and ever so I can see anything anyone has ever tagged me in actually. But the paper planner one I do check off, and I write down who I tagged, and if I see that person do the tag, I fill in their little caret, their little play thing. But it doesn't happen very often. So someone did it recently and I was like, I get to fill in the little circle. which is kind of silly, but that's how I track whether I'm having influence on people to do a book tag. Sadly, not very often. Beth Ann says, I do not keep track of what I've been tagged to do on Booktube, which is why I'm a terrible booktuber. You're not a terrible booktuber. So I wonder if it's time, if it times out. Can you go to the mentions in the analytics community mentions and then see still what people have tagged you in from like months or years ago? I would think so. I would not think that they would time it out. Jim says, I check mentions on community. That's what I was just explaining, but don't track all the tags I have been tagged in. I'm cutting back to a tag every 2 months. I noticed you hadn't done one in a while. You just did one and you mentioned that. And I thought, yeah, it's been a long time. Well, here's me doing 3 in a day. So different strategy. Craig says, when I'm searching for who tagged me, I rely on the mentions in the YouTube studio. Okay, so everyone's using the same tactic. That's good. Hopefully it still works. Knock on wood. Ven says, when I get tagged in a video, I copy paste the prompts, title, and add the person who tagged me into one PDF file. Once I have done the tag, I delete that entry from the file. Oh, okay, you're bringing out my third system. So I've got the playlist on YouTube, which is a website. I've got the paper planner, which is non-digital. And in order to prep the prompts, I have a notepad that just says tags at the top, and it's all of them. And I started maybe a year ago writing my answers in these and tagging the folks and figuring out what I'm going to say, and then putting links if I need them. And when I've done it, I put it in gray rather than black. And when I'm about to do it, I bold it. So yeah. So there's really 3 things that I do. I forgot. Yeah. When you don't have enough to do, this is what ends up happening. So Cat and Lock is a crime series. Okay. Good question. Looks like mentions do go back at least several years. Okay. No, I have no excuse. Oh, yeah. You know, priorities in life shift all the time, so don't worry. Last tag today is the one Leslie tagged me in. It's called the Beach Vacation Tag, and she did a really great version of this tag. If you haven't seen it, go check it out on Leslie's channel. She didn't go to the beach because it's too much of a hassle to drive there, but she went to different locations in like the LA area with water and filmed herself out in the wild. And I was like, that took a lot of effort. So really, really good video. It is 6 prompts from some other character who did the original tag, and I loved Leslie's version. So some prompts are books and others are books, movies, or comics to help open it up for those who are tagged out of books. Well, I did not need that help, and so I just answered a book for every one. So for the beach vacation tag, I'm tagging Ven and Mike at Raff's Reading Renaissance and Anita, because I mentioned Anita in another tag, and so I thought I'd tag her for one of the tags to do in case she had time. She does occasionally do reading wrap-ups and reviews, and so that's why I thought, okay, well, maybe a tag will sneak in. The first prompt is stranded. You're on a desert island for 1 week. You're going to get picked up. What one book are you taking with you? So I had two possibilities here. One was I want better catastrophe, which y'all have heard me talk about for Climathon. This is a book by a climate activist who has been through the ringer in terms of emotional and just glismal. That's the word that came to mind. Doom, dismal, gloom. There we go. Gloom and dismal kind of outlook on life for humanity. And has come out the other end thinking, well, we got to do something. And so this is his approach of um, who he talked to, what their takes were. And a lot of these different activists he talked to had different advice or guiding lights or touchstones. And I just found it to be really helpful. It's not a touchy-feely book. It is a excavating um, um, mm, psychological aspects of the climate catastrophe, but it's also focused on what's possible and what the likelihoods are and what people are doing now and that sort of thing. So I've read it once very intensely, and if I was on a desert island, I would get to go back and sort of comb through it, maybe focus on one aspect and go look at all the things he referred to, instead of try to make it a linear read. So that's my beach book. Greg says, I haven't done tags in a few weeks. Gareth's tags seem to always drag me in. Muppets Unite, Hitchhiker's Guide, Kate Bush. Is there a Kate Bush tag? I thought it hadn't come out yet. Did I just miss it in the past hour? Ooh. Yeah. Yeah. Excellent. And hopefully, Anita, you were here for the shout out of your latest book. Okay, the other possibility for a desert island book is my current work in progress, because then I might actually get some work done on it. Problem number 2, flip-flop friendships or how I learned to love Crocs. Well, we are not Crocs lovers here. If you don't know, Crocs are just a weird floppy type of sandal that is covered on the front and open on the back. And they've become popular, and lots of people think they're ugly. So, but the prompt is for a story with friendship at its core. Bonus, summer camp or travel. Okay, so for this one, I went with The Sign for Home. I've talked about this one before, but has been a while. The Sign for Home is written by someone who's been a sign language interpreter for a long time and is also I think, audio book narrator. I'm trying to remember. He's like an actor or narrator as well as an interpreter. And so he finally wrote a book putting to use those skills. And it's about someone who's in someone who's in a religious cult and is deaf and blind, and so has access to services and meets this person who is a gay sign language interpreter, and they're both in pretty precarious positions. And we get more of the slightly older gay protagonist than we do of the younger trying to access services protagonist, but they develop a friendship. There is travel involved. There is a lot of friendship made, tested, forged. It's just a really, really, really good story. Just stay off. Blair, I can't remember his name. Beans are distracting me. But definitely a good friendship book and a good examination of a community about which I have very little experience. So it opened up a lot in terms of technical things, in terms of terminology, in terms of just seeing the world in a different way, like getting stuck in Grand Central Station when you don't have your seeing eye dog and you don't have what was the other thing? I think it was a machine that helped the protagonist type out messages because his backpack was stolen. So yeah, really crazy, really like roller coaster, The Sign for Home. Really good book. Prompt number 3 is sunscreen required. What book, movie, or comic burned you with hype? Again, another hype question, but ended up disappointing you. And here I'm going to say The Maid by Nita Prose. This is one of those where you look at the packaging and the cover and the people raving about it and you think, this is going to be really good. And then you read it and you're like, oh, well, I didn't really like how they did that character. Like, it just felt I'm not sure what the words are, but I didn't feel, like all the people had been treated kindly in the book, and so it didn't make me want to read more. Prompt number 4, Sunburn and Secrets. Pick a twisty, juicy thriller or mystery, perfect for a hot day. And again, I'm ignoring the book, movie, comic. I'm just going with books. So for this one, I chose Blackwater Rising by Attica Locke, which I reviewed recently. It's my first Attica Locke. She's one of the authors that I had more than one book of and had not yet read, so I had to put that to rights. And it's a pretty hefty book, but there's a lot of setting and there's a lot of action you have to get through during this investigation. Now, this is set, I think, in the 80s around Houston, and that brings to mind the Pelican Files, the Pelican Brief, Pelican Brief, I guess, which is like New Orleans in the 90s. Anyway, there's this very small time lawyer who has like a rented office in a strip mall, right? And he ends up doing these investigations himself because the cops aren't doing it. And I wonder if that is what happens with certain kinds of cases. So, yeah, it seems very dangerous to me. If I had gone through all the trouble to get a law degree and open to practice, like, I don't think I would spend as much time as he does running around snooping. but but it's very convincing, because of all the factors that are laid up against him and against the clients and everything. So I was very convinced. It was very action, it was very pacey, it was very modern causes were involved, like really well integrated story. So yeah, do recommend Blackwater Rising. Prompt number 5, beach book bag or bog bag. And I think that means bog as in toilet. What's your go-to lightweight, fast-paced read for the beach? Or the toilet, I guess, is why they're saying bog. And so for this one, I'm going to go with one of my favorite beach setting books, which is The Burnout by Sophie Kinsella. And I just highlighted this book on Wednesday as well in a Christmas tag, probably because she's on my mind because she just passed away after several years of struggling against cancer, and so she was in the headlines and in our thoughts. But this book made me laugh out loud, as I said. And The Burnout is about a woman in her 30s who's in marketing, who has an incident at work where she sort of went off the rails and so is given a leave of absence. She comes to this beach resort that she remembered as a kid, and like it's definitely run down in the 20 years since she's been a kid. And so she's just confronted with, what have I been doing with my life, as well as, man, I'm really in a shithole. Like, and then it picks up and like beautifully comes together. And I just think it's really funny and really well done as a romance. So what is not to love? Although Emma didn't love this book. So yeah, everyone has their own opinion, and that's fine. Catching up here before the final prompt. Jim says The Long Way to a Small Angry Planet by Becky Chambers is found family, quiet loyalty, and kindness as survival. The friendships make the ending feel warm rather than bleak. Oh, Jenny says, Firefly still has my absolute favorite found family, and there's books to go with the show now. Yes, there was a naughty kitty. He was going up, again, right near the pillows with the litter. I do not want litter in my bed. Thank you. Greg says, Margaret's mother keeps coming into the room. Margaret shouts at her. Family dynamics. No, that is not true. Greg also says the maid was disappointing. Okay. So I'm not the only one. Catpaw says, I have a feeling I did the beach vacation tag on Blue Sky as one a day, but now I can't find it. I know. Blue Sky is hard to search, just like Twitter is hard to search. Jim says, Twisty for a hot day. He would recommend The Talented Mr. Ripley by Patricia Highsmith. It's sun-drenched Europe, envy, identity games, and moral rot. Slick, unsettling, and endlessly readable. And it's not as long as my Twisty thriller. So yeah, if you're concerned about length of time, that's probably a good recommendation. So the last prompt for beach vacation is a seashell surprise. Name a book, movie, or comic that looked simple but had unexpected depth or beauty inside. And I think when I read this, I read Unexpected Death because I put Miss Pym Disposes, which is a Josephine Tay book. It's a good mystery. It's very slow paced and sort of domestic without a creeping dread. Just domestic and pleasant, and she's very observational minded. And so, I mean, that was very much like what I am. I'm always picking up on small things and wondering what they mean, what they signify. And Miss Pym Disposes was about a person who was a teacher of French for a long time until she won a prize or won the lottery or something and retired. Oh no, she wrote a book and it did really well. And so she just retired from teaching. And she went to visit a friend, and she has this sort of very ordered life. And she's on the point of just going, okay, this is not very comfortable. These dorm beds are not great. My beauty rest is, top priority. And going back to her normal ordered life when something happens. And then it's like, oh, well, actually she stays because the girls are so lovely. She's at this like girls sports school, which is a hard concept to sort of imagine at this point, but this is like the 60s, early 60s maybe. And anyway, she stays because she thinks it'll be nice, and then something ends up happening. So yeah, the relationships between old friends, the power dynamics, the hierarchy in a girls' school, in the ways that wealth influences relationships. Like, I just found it to be a small, short book and story, but like there's loads in there you could talk about if you had it as a book club book. So I didn't read it with anyone, so I didn't get to like dig out all the little pieces, but they did sort of filter through my brain. And that was nice. So that was a good one. And these are the people I'm tagging that have been up here on the screen. So for question A5, Catpaw says Lost in Time by A.G. Riddle, which is the lightweight, fast-paced read. Oof. And for question 4, Josephine Fox series by Claire Gradich, which is the twisty, juicy thriller. Okay, I looked for Claire Gradich in several of the bookstores that I was in recently and did not see her. I also looked for Cecilia Ahern, and I just commented on Carrie Books, Keri. She's a delightful channel. She's read several Cecilia Ahern and likes her. And so I said, oh, I was just looking for her because someone recommended it to me, but I can't seem to find her on the US shelves. So I think that may be like a differentiated market problem. Unfortunately, I cannot find it. So there, I can tick off a few more of my full tag sheet in my planner. I can cross out and gray out a few more of my tags in the Notepad app, and the playlist stays the same. But I just wanted to say thank you to these people for tagging me. And if you've been waiting to see me do it like I do for other people, then today's your happy day. You're welcome. Merry Christmas. Christmas has come early, right? Because I'm sure it's like all you're focused on. Tags are fun. Hey, Derek made it to the live. Hello, hello. I newly subscribed to Derek's channel, so we're just getting to know each other one video at a time, which is nice. And yeah, let's see. If you've got any questions, pop them in. If you are available to stay, I'm just going to do a quick wrap of current reads because I started a new one. And just a reminder that I will be doing I'm not sure what I'm going to do for it, but some sort of haul, because I did haul a lot of books recently because I abandoned the Read What You Own. And I will either pre-record that or live stream it Christmas Day for accidental booksellers Christmas something tag. So yeah, but I mentioned this before, Astra Taylor, Remake the World. It's a bunch of essays about activism. And I just, in reading it, realized she's white. So the essays are good. They're like newspaper articles. I've gotten more into this one, which is Theory of Water by Leanne Beda Samosake Simpson, an Indigenous critic, academic, and thinker. And this is really interesting, especially after the audiobook by the Fisher poet that I read. That's really good. This one I just started, and I think Cat Paw said this is a little bit disappointing. I like the opening so far. I'm on page 18. I just started it. It's Dreamers of the Day by Mary Doria Russell, who wrote one of my favorite books of all time, The Women of the Copper Country. Historical fiction, as you can probably tell. It's this woman in the 20s. She's a spinster, and she ends up going to the Holy Land. I'm not exactly sure where. It looks like the pyramids, but covers may take liberties. I'm not there yet. We're close, but we're not quite there. I also found a book that I thought might fill the requirements for climate activism in the kitchen, but so far I'm just finding a lot of weird typos and equipment stuff. So I'm going to keep going, but I may end up passing that one on sooner than I thought. And yeah, the city book, that's pretty much what I'm reading. That's what I'm focusing on at the moment. How about you guys? Let's see. So Derek said, I just subscribed back. Yes, thank you very much. Oh, Julie is here. Julie was lurking or just came in. Either way, hi, Julie. Greg's asking if I've created tags. Yes, I think I've created probably 4. They are listed under the playlist. If you go back. I created one with Beth Ann. I created one for March of the Moderns. I created one about home and historical fiction. I can't remember what the others might be, but I've done a fair few, but none recently. Did you haul more than me? Please say yes. No. I mean, no, obviously not. Maybe if we took like the last 2 weeks only, but not for the year. I mean, I don't keep count. I would have to go back and like individually count on Storygraph. But I'm pretty sure it's not above 400, which I think you were near, right? Greg is asking, has anyone else here created tags? I think Greg might be making a playlist. If anyone wants to promote one of their tags, drop it in the chat or comments, or go to Greg's channel and let him know personally on his community posts. Jim says, current reads are Cold, Cold Bones by Kathy Reichs, mystery series. Crooked Kingdom by Lee Bardugo, which is fantasy. And The Voyage of the Beagle by Charles Darwin, which I had to read in college and thought was so boring. So I hope you're having a better time with it. See if you can find Claire Grattidge or Josephine Fox as audiobooks. Well, I get most of my audiobooks as advanced listening copies, which means they're free. So if I was going to pay $25, which is like the normal average price, that would be a lot for something that's probably a one-time mystery read. I think I've maybe looked them up in the library as well, and they're not there, but I could try that again. Ben says, I don't think anyone we know has hauled more than you, JJ. Yeah, worth a shot. I'm considering giving tag creation a try. Excellent. I'm sure you've observed quite a few, how it's done. Jenny says, I have 5 books I'm trying to complete by the end of the year, which are Lucifer Volume 1, 47 Ronin, which is a movie novelization, Beloved, Akatar, and the newest book in the Robin Hood series that are so much fun. Who is the Robin Hood series author? Is it like a retelling? Beth Ann says, I'm reading The End of August, translated fic by Yu Miri. Excellent. Behemoth. Oh, okay. Create a tag, Greg. Jim says, I did the home tag. That was a long time ago, right? That was like 2021. Who remembers that? Ben says, you did K. Oh, yeah. Yeah, there we go. K-pop Demon Hunters. That was the most recent one in the summer. Such a good movie. Greg is still working through the Pickwick Papers by Dickens. Really enjoying it. That's a lot. $400 or $25, I think. Yeah. Yeah, I'd lend you my copy if I could. I know, several times, maybe more than I can count on one hand. I've gotten a book and said, I wish I could send this reliably to Cat Paw. Yeah. Okay, the Robin Hood series is by Robert. That's a funny last name. Muchamore? That might be a pen name. What do you guys think? What do you guys think? It's funny. I just think it's funny. So no questions. We're almost at exactly the hour. So thank you everyone for joining, for being here at the regularly scheduled time. Later today, if you're late night owls, I'll probably be a little bit in the Gareth and Dave chat for their Christmas special. Yesterday, I had to miss Greg's appearance on Elaine's channel, so go ahead and pick that up. That was a fun time. Wide-ranging topics, but not as rambly as usual. So I had a great time on the rewatch. That was very fun. That's on at Cobalt Dragon. So lots of fun things, people doing interesting chats, and it's a nice little Christmas thing to participate in. Those songs are still stuck in my head because you told me to watch I Am Not Sorry. That's a good soundtrack. Derek is currently rereading the Sharp series. Excellent. So that is Bernard Cornwell, who I have not yet read. I keep looking at it and going, oh, I don't own, so it's not on my shelves, but I could definitely get copies because they're everywhere. Maybe not at first in the series, but maybe you don't have to read them in order. I don't know. I feel like the Sharp series is going to be similar to the Aubrey Maturin series, and I'm just going to be like, why am I reading all this stuff I don't understand? Just all this naval jargon. So, Kappa says they're reading Thanks for the Memories by Cecilia Ahern. Excellent. My husband wants Da 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 by Sam Wicker and Book of Dreams by Nina George. Oh, I've read something by Nina George. I think she did the Little Paris Bookshop that I read. Nice. That seems like a nice comfort read. Greg says, the horror story I told is worth the price of admission. I mean, I thought there were other things that were more interesting to me. And I commented. I don't know if you know out there, but I tend to comment as I think of things. And so I leave multiple comments as I'm viewing rather than saving it for one, because I'm never going to remember everything I wanted to say if I wait till the end. So ADHD brethren, solidarity. I'm at work or I'd comment more. Oh, you're fine. You're fine. You're fine. Yeah, see, Greg made a theme song for Elaine. That is worth the price. That is at the very beginning too. I'm a giver. It's poetic. It's very nice. Laura sent me a copy of Nightmare Lane, so I'm reading that too. Laura. Which Laura? And a copy how? How did she get something to you? As an ebook? I just tried to give an ebook as a gift, and it has been a nightmare trying to figure out how to actually deliver it. So again, not a fan of ebooks. Derek says, you don't have to read it in order, but I would suggest publication order if possible. There's no naval jargon, but it is very pulpy. Okay. Well, I should try one then, because it is historical fiction, and like a big name in historical fiction, I should know. Hey, Erin. Hello, hello. I'm reading Slow Gods by Claire North. I don't vague. No, I don't have a cover coming to mind, so I don't think I know this one. Ah, Laura Nettles. Google Doc. Oh, right. Okay, so Nightmare Lane must be one of her books. Awesome. To each their own poison, I will say. All right, all right. And then Ash is here, just tuning in as I close the bookshop. Enjoy the here and now commenting style. Yeah, exactly. I've done that to Ash's videos for sure. Oh, see, Erin says, I love the Aubrey and Maturin books. They're like adventure Jane Austen. Yeah, I mean, I suppose I can see the wit and sort of back and forth, but it's just buried in so much description for me. Shout out Laura Nettles and their collection, Tiny Shivers. There we go. Slow Gods came out very recently. Okay, then I definitely don't know because I'm not up on new releases. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Well, that was fun. Thank you everyone for popping in, saying hello, hitting the like button, subscribing if you're new. It's been lovely, and there have been so many tags this week. So just know that I'm going to be watching and marking off on my little planner if you do the tags and you tag me, of course. I have to see that. So if you want to give me an extra little Christmas present, you'll do the tags that you're tagged in. But again, no pressure, no worries. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Jenny's in trouble. That's all I can say. All right. Well, thanks everyone for joining. Diversify that reading list. Take rest. Take care. And happy weekend, everyone. Next time I come on, it will be after Christmas. So I hope you all have a wonderful holiday if you celebrate, or just some rest time if you need it. All right. Bye, everybody.